We're here with Duran Customz interview numero cuatro. We're honoring today Mr. Angel Guerrero on his knowledge of doo-wop. We're going to be talking about Billy Stewart, Chess Records, Fanat Records, Ralphie Pagan, and so on, and whatever else we could get into, my brother. And like we were saying, right, about the Selena Netflix, and then they noticed her singing a song about Freddie Fender, man, leaving it all up to you.
Okay,
take it from here, my brother.
That leaving it all up to you was a Donnie Dewey song. It was 1956.
Doo-wop, right?
Doo-wop.
Yeah, 40s and 50s, right?
Yeah, 50s, actually late 50s. And,
yeah.
But the thing was, with that song, it didn't really make it as popular as the Dale and Grace from them. They did it later, I think in 59 or early 1960, but they actually made it popular.
Wow, they popularized that song.
Yeah, and every time I heard that song, it was always from them, from Dale and Grace.
Wow.
Yeah. You've heard it from them many, many times. The Don and Dewey one, you hardly ever heard it that much anymore.
Yeah. And that was the original harmonizing at the corners, you know. Everybody would get together. That would be the original style of making music back in the 40s and 50s, right?
You got to remember...
Italians and the African Americans.
Right. Well, you got to remember, a lot of people were not impressed by the music that we were releasing it. A lot of people weren't appreciated by Alan Freed. Alan Freed was the one that got a lot of these people that,
wow.
into being famous.
Yes. Was he a record owner or producer?
Well, actually, he was actually an owner of a company called End Records. I want to say End.
Okay.
And
he's the one that brought it to popularity, then, right?
Right.
Correct.
But yeah, and then there was a couple of compilations on End Records, which was owned by later. Roulette Records.
Wow.
Okay.
Very, very.
Now, Roulette Records was a high top label. Okay, it was owned by a lot of mafiosos, back in the day, and each record that was released by Roulette Records, a lot of these artists didn't get paid like they were supposed to be getting paid.
Man, and that seems to be the story throughout the years, as far as the record business, correct, brother?
Right. Well, from what I heard in those days, an artist puts out a record, whether it was from 1959 to all the way through 69. The artists were getting paid at least like $25.
Wow.
Per song. They weren't getting paid like the minimum high price of what
Yeah.
The actual record.
But when we're talking about like doo-wop, a lot of them were kids. That was like the youth that was putting out the music at that time, so they didn't even know better as to know the business behind it. Correct?
As kids, in those days, they didn't know a lot better.
Yeah.
A lot of them were just skipping school, or they went to go see their favorite band back in in the late 50s.
Yeah. So what was the father music of doo-wop then? Was it blues, rhythm and blues, or?
I want to say rhythm and blues.
Rhythm and jazz, something like that. Yeah, right. That's pretty cool, man.
I mean, because we did have jazz in the 50s also.
Oh, jazz. Oh, man. I love blues and jazz. Big Mama Maybelline.
Yeah.
Put Yourself in My Place. That's a pretty cool one.
But you also have to remember Ray Charles was another one, too.
Oh.
So he knocked your socks off with, rhythm and blues, jazz, soul.
Yeah. I mean, you're the second person that mentioned Ray Charles, my brother. Yeah, you're right, man. He's very, very... He could play the piano too, versatile. His
this is what you call the geniuses of rock and roll.
Yes.
I mean, a lot of times
the forefathers
the forefathers. Yeah, another one, Stevie Wonder.
Yeah. Who are some of your favorite doo-wops?
My favorite doo-wops. Well, I can name a few, but I don't have a lot of favorite doo-wops. But I mean,
but like the Chantels, or like the Penguins, and
actually, there's a group.
Fats Dominoes, Fats Dominoes.
Actually, I like a group called the Shells. They were actually not the Shells the Shields who did You Cheated.
Yeah.
This
You
is
cheated. You lied.
Yeah, that one as well. I like that one.
Yeah, yeah.
But there was a group called the Shells, and they did a song. They did a song called "Baby Oh Baby," which was released, I think, in '56 or '57. That song,
awesome.
That song takes me way back into the neighborhood, growing up in Baldwin Park, right there off of Nada Street.
Wow.
And I used to hear that on KRLA on 1110 a lot.
Yeah.
And that song stuck with me.
Yeah, yeah.
And
so your surroundings is what got you into
loving
the music, right?
Yeah. Okay, but then it's funny, because me and my brother talk about that song all the time, and he tells me like every time I hear that song, I think about you all the time.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's like
because it and I mentioned it before in a few of my other interviews that music attaches emotions and memories. It's almost like you're going back in time to a different time, a timeline. And those memories are, for different songs. I could still remember songs that remind me of the 7th grade, 8th grade, and so on, Pleasant View. And this is how far back we go to Pleasant View. I remember you from Pleasant View, my brother.
Yeah,
how about the Chantels?
Okay,
maybe.
Okay, well.
Or how about the Silhouettes?
Silhouettes?
From La Bamba, bro.
Yeah, Silhouettes. Well.
No. I don't think they were an actual group, brother. But I know the Chantels were, Frankie Lyman, doo-wop.
Yeah, the teenagers. Got short stories on him.
Frankie Lyman, right, brother?
His career just, I think he was just ahead of his time.
Yeah, Frankie Lyman, yes.
He was ahead of his time, but,
that was his group, the Teenagers, right?
The Teenagers, right. And in 1959, they released Why Do Fools Fall in Love? And there have been very few people that have done that song.
Yeah, that's
over and over again.
Yeah.
And the thing is that when you hear that song, you think of Frankie Lyman because he was the first.
He's the originator. Yeah, the originator.
Song. But as he got popular, with time, a lot of things were just going to the wrong directions of his life.
That kind of happens with fame and fortune.
Right,
yeah.
Right. But the thing was that.
Or maybe even just with fame, my brother. I can't speak of the fame and fortune because I have neither one of them, my brother.
Yeah, the thing was that he was getting involved with a lot of relationships.
Oh, women, yeah. It comes with the territory.
And then after that, it just started leading to drugs.
Yeah.
When you're in a situation like that, you're not functioning about your career. You're functioning about different things.
Well, that's what happens, my brother.
This is how it is in popularity.
Yeah, popularity when we come to music. My brother,
you don't think about the career.
Yes.
You're
right.
It's mostly the fame that people try to get to all the time.
And then we were talking about Freddie Fender. What was his? He went by.
He had
other.
Well, he had three names.
Three names, right?
Freddie Fender.
Before we move on to further things, because that's a pretty great topic, like there that I was, Okay,
his first
that
name,
you shocked me with,
His first name was Jerry Glenn.
Jerry Glenn.
Glenn. Okay, and his second name was Scotty Wayne.
Wow. And he started off, right?
With Jerry Glenn. Yeah, he started
off.
And
he also went on to be part of the Texas Tornadoes doing Tex-Mex in his later careers.
Well, in his later years, he got really popular over there in Texas, over there in Texas.
Yeah,
and the thing is that, in Texas, you had a lot of these good Tejano groups, like Sonny and the Sunliners and
Selena, that's where we started off the conversation with, Tex-Mex, brother. That reminds me of my dad, bro. Tex-Mex, the Texas Tornadoes, Freddie Fender.
That's what it was called out there.
What reminds you of your parents? Talk about doo-wops that you remember from growing up in Baldwin Park.
Well, the first doo-wop song
what reminds you of your mom and your dad?
Well, the first doo-wop song I heard was Earth Angel by the Penguins. And when I first heard of that song, I deeply was just listening to the lyrics of how,
Yeah, how touching it gravitated to those.
How touching R&B is.
Yes, so
this was kind of. I want to say that this was the very first birth of soul.
Yes.
Of the R&B doo-wop.
Yes.
But then, talking about Frank Zappa, make that story short, he did back them up on Earth Angel and Memories of Almani.
Wow.
Believe it or not. And Memories of Almani was a later record in 1960. Okay, yes. It got released on Original Sound, and his name was put on there on the bottom of the record.
Frank Zappa.
Zappa.
Wow.
Yeah,
Zappa.
And that freaked me out because in the late 60s he was already doing a lot of these creativity, funny, wacky things. Like
yeah.
a lot of stupidity stuff. But, he got into this comedy thing.
Yeah,
later,
but we will never know that if we don't do our history and our research like the way you have. You're doing your research and you're knowing this.
Yeah.
The average person that listens to music. That's why I think it's so important I was looking forward to doing this interview.
The thing is, it's
for people to know things like this.
If it's important, it's important to own the original vinyls. That way, you know who the composers are.
Yes.
You know who the main artist.
Hey, you're right. You're talking about the original.
Right.
Stuff in the music that came out. That way they don't change it up later on if they sell it to another record company and so on. Correct?
Right. A lot of times, what happens when a record gets put out, a smaller company comes into the picture first.
Yes.
And then later, a bigger company comes in. Later,
takes over. The father company.
Yeah. Right.
The big dog.
The big dog. Okay, and the doo-wop scene was just wow.
Yeah, it's amazing. It is what the R&B is today because that led into where we're at now.
It's amazing and it's tragic.
And it's like the way we said that it was for the kids. Yeah. Same thing I could say about hip hop. It was for the kids. And what do you feel about Chess Records and Billy Stewart, my brother?
Well, you know what?
My favorite thing about him, his melodic singing, brother. It's one of my favorites. The two that I could say about that, and it reminds me, and not so much, but I could say iconic-wise, Tupac and Biggie of our time, and I would say Billy Stewart and Rafi Pagan are two of my favorites.
Well, my first 45 was "I Do Love You" by him.
Wow.
Second one was "Sitting in the Park." But when I hear those two songs,
but I think what was his most popular one?
His most popular one?
I think it was "Summertime."
Summertime, yeah.
But you could count me out, cross my heart. I could go on. Oh man, dude. All those tracks are just.
Those tracks. This is
Fat Boy is one of my favorite ones, dude.
Yeah,
Fat Boy, that track there, and I don't know if you know, but there was a person that took that riff and made it a part of their song.
Reap What You Sow was another classic.
Bo Diddley, if I'm not mistaken, was the person that he came in contact with that got him signed to Chess Records.
Right, they were both signed to Chess Records.
Yes, I believe Bo Diddley was the one that introduced him, and yeah. And he had his lengthy career there. Mickey and Sylvia took that riff they had heard. I don't know if it was Fat Boy or one of those.
Love is Strange.
I believe so, and took that riff and made it. They had Billy Stewart and they jump up, yeah. And I think they got sued for that, my brother.
Well,
what else could you say about Billy Stewart, man? His melodic way that he would sing and everything that would set him apart from the rest.
The thing was, I think with him is that he brought the northern soul.
Yeah.
Real strongly with that voice, and that voice just blew everybody away. I got blown away with everything else. A lot of the stuff that I heard on Chess Records.
Chess Records is
one of the best companies that you could.
People be talking about Death Row Records and all this, or Def Jam. No. Back in the days, we're talking about for 9. We're talking about Chess Records.
We're talking about the good old labels.
The good old labels, brother.
And this is one of the best labels that ever came out here in Chicago, Illinois. That's
Chicago.
Out of Chicago,
man,
Illinois.
When you're talking about Chicago, brother, I'm thinking of the Road Warriors. I'm thinking of Kanye West. Now, Billy Stewart's attached to Chess Records, brother, in Chicago, Illinois, one of the baddest
recording studios.
Wow, that's amazing, my brother.
Yeah. There's a couple of other record labels out there. The Fontana label was actually located out there.
In Chicago also?
Yeah, also in Chicago, Illinois. Actually, Fontana Records was also had a lot of different groups. Had a lot of like rocks, psych groups and
psychedelic
rocks and R&B also.
When you're talking about psychedelic rock, brings to mind for me is Jimi Hendrix, my brother. And I know that he had did early work with, if I'm not mistaken, with Frank Sinatra and also with Little Richard.
Well, he signed up to Frank Sinatra's label.
Yes.
In 66, earlier 66.
If I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay. And their first album was the Experience. The Jimi Hendrix.
Who's associated with them, brother? That you told me that was part of another group.
Okay. Well, let me give you heads up with that. One of the guys from the Animals who left and came into the picture was Chas Chandler.
Wow.
Of the Animals, the early Animals, the first Animals. He came in to produce all the
Experience.
Well, actually, he came in to produce the first two albums of Jimi Hendrix, which was the Are You Experience and Access Bold as Love. And at that time, when he came in, he had somebody else engineer for Hendrix also.
Wow.
And for
so he wasn't having no success here in the States. He went to the British, right?
Right. Well, he wasn't having much success here in the States, but once he got huge over there with productions over there in the UK.
In the UK, right? The British.
The
British invasion. You must have heard it. Oh my God!
Let me tell you something. I love the British invasion.
Yeah, man. I remember the last time you came, you brought that compilation of that one record, and it just had a little bit of everything on there, my brother. Like rock, dude. That's amazing, dude. Like that is amazing, brother.
Well, the UK stuff is my love. That's what I.
You're talking about the British invasion, man. You're talking about all these great groups that came from over there.
I also like the British invasion of also of the R&B, because they've also took other.
What are some of the R&B British invasion that came over, remember?
Well, there's a group called the St. Louis Union.
Yeah.
They're out of London, England, and they did a song called Respect. Which was done originally by Otis Redding. Now,
man, dude, Otis Redding, my brother, one of my favorites, bro.
Well, if you listen to their version, they kind of just jumped it up a little bit.
Yeah,
and almost has kind of the same riffs of how Otis
Redding
did it,
dude.
But let me tell you,
I can't think. But we're going into Otis Redding. Sorry for disturbing you and interrupting, brother, but I don't think Otis Redding ever did a bad song, bro. His whole sitting on the dock of the bay.
One of his two big songs that
Cigarettes and Coffee, which are not popular, and that's why I think it's important to get the whole CD, bro, or the whole record, because there's that is not. He is so in depth and creative, my brother, Otis Redding, that his music just pulls you in, grabs your soul and pulls you in.
These arms are mine.
Oh my! Whoa, man! You're giving me the chills, my brother.
Pain in my heart.
Yo, man! Right, Cigarettes and Coffee. Have you ever heard that?
No.
Dude.
Little Tenderness.
Yeah, that's my girl's favorite.
That's my jam right there. Love it.
Yeah, Kanye West and Jay-Z sampled that one, my brother. Changes.
Another rare.
Change is gonna come in.
Okay. Another rare British group that did some Motown was a group called the Can 3. It's not spelled as CAN. It's actually spelled CY AN, something like that. Mm-hmm. But they did a Temptations classic called Since I Lost My Baby. But they didn't do it actually. They didn't actually do it that song, too well. I mean, they kind of
didn't do it justice.
No, actually, didn't do a lot of justice on that. They kind of did it too fast, for being kind of like a Motown.
Since we're talking about like rock, but this has nothing to do with rock, is Lindsey Buckingham. I heard a disco one called Trouble, and you blew my mind last week, and you told me who he was part of.
He was actually a part of a late member of Fleetwood Mac.
Fleetwood Mac, and I was like, whoa, bro! I thought I came across this jam. I said, when I talked to Mr. Angel Guerrero, I'm gonna stump him on this, and I laid it out to him, and I was excited, and he wound up stumping me by telling me, yeah, he was a member of Fleetwood Mac. So I'm talking to my brother Carlos, and he said, yeah, bring up the video. That's him there playing the guitar.
The thing man, was with the later Fleetwood Mac stuff.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, it wasn't as great as the very first Fleetwood Mac.
Of course, Landslide, all those dreams.
When they first formed in 1967, they were just a psych blues band. In the
man, but you talk about blues influence on that, man. You're taking me back to jazz and blues, man. Well, those are the roots of.
These people were influenced by a lot of like blues artists, like B.B. King and Elmore James and Lightning Hopkins. I mean, these were people that were just up in the sky. People just they saw them as their idols.
Oh, definitely, man.
Fleetwood Mac actually was formed as just pure blues.
Wow.
And they came.
But you know what? When I heard Lindsey Buckingham, reminded me of David Bowie, bro. He had that voice, and I was like, man, dude. This dude is just, there's a lot of just rare stuff out there that, people don't even.
I've seen the single before, but I haven't actually heard it, but I've seen it.
Yeah.
And you were telling me the last time he sounded just exactly like David Bowie, right?
Yes. How do you feel about Fanai Records, Ralphie Pagan and all that, my brother? I think they should have made I don't know how they haven't made a movie of him yet, bro. I mean, his dynamic and the people that they touch, and everything, and his legacy right now.
Ralphie Pagan took a couple of songs from a few people.
I think they would borrow it from each other a lot. They would do that. I would notice that because I've heard one. I think not too long ago. I was like, dude, that's Make It With You. And
Make It With You was actually released by a group called Bread. Lead singer David Gates was the first one to compose that. And then later, in 71, I want to say that Ralphie Pagan re-released it.
Yes.
And put it out as a single.
Yeah.
On Fanai Records.
Fanai Records was out of New York. It was a lot of salsa, right?
Yeah, I was very impressed when I first heard it because I had never heard of anything like that.
Yeah. It was different, man. It was different. Then, the way that he brought that soulness to it and... that it was a little bit slower. It was the guitar riffs in it, and man, it was everything. It was that salsa, that Latin vibe into it.
He did another classic by John Sebastian, "Loving Spoonful," which was called "Didn't Want to Do It."
Oh, now that's one of my favorites. That's a rare one right there, brother.
Okay, that was composed. That was composed by John Sebastian.
Wow, that was later on, though, right?
No, it was early.
It was earlier on.
Early of 66, but then.
Wow, I thought it was more of his later stuff. After towards his end of
his version came out in 72. I want to say 72 or 71, and he
killed it.
He sold it. He actually just nailed this song because Sebastian didn't do it as a soul ballad. He did it just as a mellow ballad. And when you heard Ralphie do this song, it's like he took your
took it to another.
He took it to another level where
you know what you're reminding me of when you're saying this.
You took your breath away. When you heard this song.
It's like when we see The Voice or we see American Idol, they're redoing songs, but yet they're doing it in their own version, and it's just bringing a whole nother level and depth to it. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, brother?
Right, they're doing it in their own creativity.
Yes. Bringing their own imprint to it, brother.
Right, and they're doing it because it for them it sounds better.
Yes.
When they do it, before or after the other artists have done it before.
But, before we go on, and then we we say anything else, I wanted to mention about the Animals. We were talking about the Animals with Jimi Hendrix. Who else did a member of the Animals wind up being a part of the group with? That you let me know this last week. I think it's important for the people that are watching to hear.
The later Animals was actually just it was going into like psychedelic.
But did you say they were a member of what, War? No, one of the members. Actually, one of the members of the Animals.
Well, actually, Eric Burton was a member of War. He actually,
was that prior or after?
This was after
the Animals.
This was after.
Wow, and that's such a dynamic, versatile change from the Animals, House of the Rising Pain, into War. Which is more soulful and like Latin, so I would say it, but he did it, like.
Okay, well, it started off with their first album, Eric Declares War, and when they first started out, he met up with first lead singer with Lonnie Jordan of War, and that's how they all started off with Spill the Wine, in 1970.
Spill Wine.
Right.
Get that.
It was composed and produced by Jerry Goldstein in 1970.
Wow.
Actually, that song was a perfect song for the major label of MGM Records because it had the lion, circle around it. Yeah. And every time I hear that flute or that little thing that they do on that song, it sounds like the lion sound of.
Wow. That's badass.
Yeah, it is.
You know what reminds me of War? Malo. No.
Okay, well, let's get
what
to
do you
that.
think? What do you think of that, my brother?
Malo's actually a member of. That was actually George Santana's brother.
Is it? Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't even know.
That was actually George Santana in Malo. Nobody knew that.
I didn't. This is the first time I'm hearing that, man. It's been some knowledge to me.
Carlos's brother he had his band. He left his brother's band, just Santana, and wound up going with Malo.
Wow.
And they formed that Latin sound. It actually has that Latin soul in. You listen to Suavecito. That was just a masterpiece.
Yeah, definitely.
In 72, Warner Brothers had signed them up for that, and it made a lot of instant success.
Where we're talking.
And I was very impressed when I first heard that song, because when somebody had told me a long time ago that was Carlos Santana's brother playing.
Dude, I never knew that.
I never knew that either. And
so the brother played guitar too.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's. Dude, I don't know if you know, but I want to add this, since we're talking about Carlos Santana, and I want to re-innovate this into the conversation, because I did an interview with my brother. He did a guitar, and he actually, in wood, burned a sketch of Carlos Santana on that guitar. It was amazing, my brother.
Wow.
Blows me away.
Well, it blows mine too.
Yeah, we were talking about the doo-wop and everything. How about the Skyliners, brother? Since I don't have you.
Actually, the Skyliners were out of Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh had a lot of underground doo-wop that was spectacular. If I'm not mistaken, my brother.
Well,
but before we get into that, the Pittsburgh Guns N' Roses redid that one. Have you heard that one? That Since I Don't Have You from the Skyliners, they redid it. Go ahead into the Pittsburgh, my brother.
Okay. Well, that song was actually considered as an R&B song. When I first heard the
Since I Don't Have the Skyliners.
When I first heard that one, I thought it was just a bunch of black artists singing that one.
When you looked at the cover, it's like, whoa!
I looked at the cover and I was like, wow. You wouldn't think, because
that soulness, that that depth in that voice
and I thought to myself, I'm like, these guys are from Pittsburgh.
Wow, I heard that Pittsburgh had a lot of depth, soulfulness, underground. And when we talk about underground, we're talking about music that you don't have to be from a major label to make great music. Who says that you have to do that?
Yeah.
But they had the depth and the creativity and the passion in music. Right? Go on with that Pittsburgh sound, my brother.
That Pittsburgh sound just it shocked me when I heard it.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I never knew that they were, just Americans doing that.
Yeah.
This was considered as, American soul.
Yeah, American soul, man.
Soul.
So they were influenced by the African Americans, and they
sound.
said, "Yeah, you're right, my brother." You know what? I was looking at some vinyl, and I had said this in my previous interview. The Midnighters from Whittier, that vinyl, the original pressing from that goes up to like $350. My brother, the original pressings of the Midnighters. You know what I'm saying?
The first LP, right?
Yes, yes. Because they were considered underground, independent, or whatever you would.
Well, Chicano bands from East LA, they were, pretty. They were pretty influential with R&B. Their R&B was pretty talented.
Pretty talented. Even right now, I remember I sent you a playlist of all the new kind of like soulful, old school style of
There's another group that
Duran Jones, and I believe in some other ones that I had sent you like that.
Yeah. I didn't really
kind of going to the old school style, right? Yeah.
When I first heard the first R&B, it was a remake of Harvey and James was B. Hart from the Moonglows, and then Etta James, and they did My Heart Cries.
Etta James.
And this group, the Romancers from East LA, they
never heard of them, brother.
You gotta hear.
I gotta look them up right now. The
The
Romancers.
Romancers, yeah, out of East LA. They did a good job recording that, And
wow, it's amazing.
The label that they were signed to in East LA, which it was a big company. It was called Faro Records.
Faro.
Okay,
man.
But another company came in.
You know what? I'm glad that you told me that, because I was thinking of starting a record label, calling it Faros. But now that I know that it's already been done,
can't touch it.
Can't touch it.
Can't touch that.
Like MC Hammer, my brother.
Thank you. Well, you want to touch something, you better pay up.
Yeah. Might have to pay for that later on. You know what I'm saying?
Well, the single that they came out with My Heart Cries in 65. This was a label called Linda Records that just they put it out, and when I first heard it, it was just like, wow, man, this sounds just like the Harvey and Etta James.
Wow, I love Etta James, man. You know what I'm saying? That you're talking about, you're getting into now like the female versions, Mary Wells, Barbara Mason, and things like that.
Well, it goes back to the chess and the checker and the cadet label.
Yes. Or even like we mentioned before, Big Mama Maybelline and the blues. You know what I'm saying? Things like that. So it's like, and a lot of artists also release records in UK and unreleased records in the United States. I know a lot of Mary Wells and Billy Stewart stuff has been some of the rare stuff's overseas, my brother.
Yeah, well, the thing is that a lot of these records that came out here in the United States actually populated more in the UK than it did here in the United States, because a lot of these kids were actually more influenced out there than they were here
in the UK. Yeah. Then you're talking about, like we said, the psychedelic rock, the British Invasion. Then we're talking about punk rock and all that, right?
Yeah. Well, you got to remember, the press were actually against, lyrics that had to do with, talking about
uprising, freedom of speech.
What
we're going to now, it's not nothing.
But you can. This is one thing that Jim Morrison of the Doors said.
Man,
and I'll never forget what he said.
The Lizard King.
He says, I feel that the artist and the, should have the right to write, his own songs however he wants to write it.
Yeah.
Or, or how he wants to make it,
Yeah.
Because
when you try to, hey, dude, change this, and nah, man. I tried to get my son into writing.
Okay, well, check this out.
Well,
this is what happened on the Ed Sullivan Show in 1967. They appeared on.
I remember he was.
And they told Jim Morrison, if you sing that lyric.
Yes. Change that lyric.
Yeah, change that lyric, girl. We couldn't get much higher. But well, guess what? They fucking did it anyway.
Yeah, you got to just do.
Hey, they're gonna do it the way they're gonna do it.
Yeah.
And Jim Morrison is mindset.
You can't alter the creativity, my brother.
You can't change those lyrics.
Yes.
Once you write those lyrics on your note sheets, you can't change. You can't change a fucking thing.
And that's what I try to get my son into doing. I said, write it the way that you. Well, how do I do that? How do I do that? No, you write it the way that you want to do it.
Don't have anybody tell you how to write your lyrics or how you're gonna do,
or how to express yourself. You have to express yourself in your own dynamic way. There's no way to say, "Hey, dude, don't do that." No.
Well,
you gotta express yourself in your own dynamic way.
People are gonna try to tell you to do it different. No, you don't want to do it that way. You tell the person you don't want to do it that way. Look, this is the way I want to do it. This is the way I wrote it from the beginning.
Yes.
And that's that.
And that's why I think being independent is so important, my brother.
Right.
It's not about the money. It's about your creativity and your passion and doing what you love as an art. Because if you start to, you're going to have to change stuff like that if you sign to those things. But who cares? What about being independent and pushing out your message and your creativity to the next generation, my brother? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Let's get into the next topic, and let's talk about Huggy Boy. And remember those, because everybody knows about Artie LeBeau and, one through, dedicated to you and this and that. Let's talk about Huggy Boy, because when I hear Huggy Boy, I remember those, good rare songs that would come out on those compilations, my brother.
Those compilations that Huggy Boy came out were, I want to say they were actually much more
in depth
than what Art LeBeau's compilations.
Yeah, because they would do like what we're talking about, the rare songs, other songs in the albums that don't catch, that are not too popular, right?
Well, Huggy Boy had the rare oldies on his compilations.
Yes.
He had each compilation that he released had 18 tracks.
Wow. That's a lot of tracks.
You're
talking about vinyl now. You're not talking about CDs.
No, I'm not talking about CDs.
Tapes,
I'm not talking about tapes.
8-track. You're talking about vinyl right here.
The actual vinyl. Okay?
Yes.
When he first came out with those in, I want to say late of 67 or 68, 69, he put out his first compilations out there. And, they had a bunch of like different artists in there. I mean, like Tony Allen and,
wow.
And, like Marvin and Johnny.
Yeah.
Different people that were just listed on the list on there.
Yeah.
And you had McKinley Mitchell on there, Kind of Living. You see songs like that, but
you had mentioned.
But do you see songs like that on Art LeBeau's compilations? No.
But you had mentioned to me that he owned his own label, and that he was partners with Art LeBeau, right?
Yeah, well, that's how it all started. Original Sound was located in Hollywood.
Wow.
They started out there.
That's
Hollywood,
amazing, dude.
on Sunset Boulevard. That was just
your knowledge and
that was just the main strip where it all happened. And this is how Huggy Boy and Art LeBeau got their start from making all these other people famous on their compilations.
That's amazing.
But his first compilation that came out in 61.
How many compilation albums did Huggy Boy? No, Huggy Boy. Because I know they were very rare and few, and they're kind of hard to find right now.
For 18 tracks on each album, I think he did about like maybe 5 or 6 of volumes. He didn't have that many like Art LeBeau. Art LeBeau had about like.
Then you had like the Art LeBeau, then you had like the East Side Stories, and then you know what I'm saying?
Well, Art LeBeau only had like I think a total of like 12 LPs compilations.
But later on, he would add like the hip hop and stuff like that.
Wow. Yeah, that's something that I didn't know about either.
I remember he had like a proper dose and stuff like that.
I was told that he was releasing, later
which
stuff.
Which was cool stuff. Like
he was releasing other compilations like R&B, like from the 80s and stuff like that. And I seen one of Tierra, which was Together, and I was like, wow.
But how about the Huggy Boy? Was it like how many do you think he put out on his compilations?
Well, like I said, it's about like 5 or 6.
5 or 6 of them.
Yeah.
Wow, man.
So that's not enough. I mean, compared to what Art LeBeau had put out there.
But those are the rare gems that you want to get. You know, because I look for them and I can't find them. Yeah, and if you find them, they're either on CD, they're not on vinyl, they're not on. You know what I'm saying?
The thing is, you don't want to get the actual CD from that. You want to get the
vinyl. You want to get the vinyl from that, man. That's what
You don't want to get the actual CD because what happens is that when they put those out, like between 87, 88, 89, you get those tracks, but you actually get more other tracks from like other artists, like well, what song is this or what song is that?
That's true.
You don't know who this artist is, so you listen to it and it's like, wow, I never heard, I didn't hear this song on the original compilation.
That's true.
That came out.
That's true, my brother.
That's why a lot of people aren't pleased with with CDs very much these days.
Oh yeah.
And the CD thing, it's actually dropped down already. It's completely dead. But what I love about it is that
I wish I would have talked to you prior to me ordering a bunch of CDs for my album, my brother.
I'm actually proud
because I invested $200 in that. But now that you're telling me, I'm gonna have to call them back.
Yeah, I'm proud that they did do that. They did create.
I'm gonna have to take another shot for that. Did they?
Yeah, I'm glad that they brought up with blank CDs because now you could put your own compilations into
together. And I've been waiting for that one that you promised me of those. Hey, I got you a couple of compilations coming, my brother. I haven't received them yet. Of the doo-wop and all that together. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What are some of your favorite soul artists?
Well, my
oldies. I mentioned Billy Stewart. I mentioned Rafi Pagan. You know what we're talking about, Billy Stewart. I think that
anybody out there wants to know who my favorite R&B artist is Bloodstone. Bloodstone was my first London soul artist group.
Wow. What are some of their songs that they sing? Bloodstone. Is it Natural High?
Well, Natural High was my first.
London if I'm not mistaken, it's Natural High. They sing that, right?
Natural High was my first single that I owned.
Wow.
1980.
Dude, you know what? When I talk to my people that I interview here, and they tell me that means a lot to me, man. Because that I'm connecting with you when you say that's your that's your first one. That's that's the one that started it all.
That's what started it. Well, let me give you stories on that.
Yes.
When I first had the single, I completely fell in love with the label because it had that blue swirl from the middle, blue again, white, blue and white, blue and white. Wow. It was cool, man. When I saw it, I was like, and then
the actual record. Yeah.
And
they start to play around with the actual creation of the record.
And then later on, I started discovering other artists that were on that label.
Yes.
The Rolling Stones.
Oh, dude, I love the Stones, man, dude. Under My Thumb.
Yeah, well, let me give you.
She's So Cold. Dude, the Stones, man, created by little Alex right there.
Right.
And
let me give you.
Drawn up by his steel.
Well, let me give you a quiz on that.
Chaff _ 74.
Who created that lip?
I don't know, man.
Who created that lip?
I'm not sure.
Or that design?
Who did?
Andy Warhol.
No way. Dude, what the fuck? Are you kidding me, brother?
Yeah, the artist.
Dude, what the fuck,
the artist, bro? Andy Warhol. He's the one that discovered the tongue.
Are you serious, bro?
Yeah.
For the you're blowing my fucking mind right now, dude.
The 1971 LP, Sticky Fingers was the first
LP
that came out. Was for Brown Sugar, and when I first bought that was actually that was my first single by the Rolling Stones.
Was it?
Yeah.
I like She's So Cold, man, and I like Under My Thumb. I think I had looked at it and tried to flow over that,
I actually like the later Rolling Stone stuff, like the She's So Cold and Start Me Up. But I didn't really get into.
I love that, man.
I just didn't really get into the later stuff as much as the early stuff. I was just.
I love more rock right now. right now, my constant rotation is rock, man. Cheap Trick and
I've
all
always
that.
just
So
been
on.
hooked on early stuff. I'm not really like, you know, like into later stuff. You know, because
but you told me that you're starting you're starting your collection or redoing your collection into the funk, and you told me the Freakazoids, or what was it that you were telling me?
The Midnight Star.
Midnight Star, right?
I did have that on.
What was the name of the song though?
Freakazoid.
Freakazoid, right?
Freakazoid. That was actually my.
And then I remember hearing that, and then I said, let me type this up because I gotta refresh my memory. I'm getting old, my brother. And that popped up. I said, "Oh man, you're getting that. You're nah, man, dude, you're an encyclopedia of knowledge when it comes to music, my brother."
Well, Midnight Star was the first.
You're getting into the funk now.
Actually,
you know what I'm saying?
Actually, that was the first breakdance single that I.
Oh man, dude.
And me and
dude, you're gonna get me to start pop locking right now in front of everybody. I don't want to embarrass myself.
You're gonna start doing the. You're gonna do the kick worm and you're gonna do the spinning around.
Yeah. Dude, that was a dope song, my brother. You know what I'm saying? Like, man.
Yeah.
So, what else do you got to say about where we could find you at? If not, we're gonna have to do a show number 2.
Actually,
my brother.
you guys can find me here.
Yeah.
If you guys allow me to come back,
I'll definitely, and maybe we could get. We're leaving off at the start of funk, so we're gonna start off with funk, and then we're gonna move on from there to present day.
Okay.
On your next interview. You're gonna need your own YouTube channel. You might have to take my spot, my brother. Today, Duran Customz interview number 4, honoring Angel Guerrero. Thank you so much, my brother.
All right, you're welcome. Pleasure to be here.
Peace, love, and light, and I'm out of here, my brother.
Yeah.
Peace.
All right. Peace.